Everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking about FEDNOW. So let's get into it. I got some great clips, and also I got some information here. Just a reminder, if you didn't know about some of these partnerships, you absolutely should know. They are huge for Ripple and XRP. But let's take a look at this right here. When we flip the switch in the middle of the year, verbatim by FEDNOW personnel during an interview in Finastra. So check us out, guys. So we always talk about hearing the thing about flipping the switch, and I'll tell you what I believe flipping the switch means after I play this clip.
On to our next topic. This is really ties into some of the questions that have come our way. Basically, Stephen, I'll say right off the bat, this is for you. Can we discuss timeline requirements, onboarding process to launch FEDNOW service?
Yeah, so we have an active pilot program with 100.
This is from last year, just to give you some context. This is not like a new video that came out yesterday. This is from last year. It just got dug up now.
20 organizations to basically help us build out the FEDNOW system. And that's been active for a couple years. And we hope, and we are actively recruiting what we're calling early adopters right now. And what does that mean? We're hoping we can get a good couple hundred customers that are in the position to both real-time post and connect. So when we turn on our system, which is late this year or first quarter of 23, they will be able to test our system. So when we flip the switch, and let's assume it is middle of 23,
which is they're launching in July, okay? Middle of 23.
We will have several hundred customers on the system moving transactions, okay? We do not have a formal schedule yet, but those are the rough time frames of when we hope FEDNOW will be live. And go back a slide, Mihail. There's
Sure.
also choice as far as how you want to participate in.
All right, so let me go to this next one, okay? Finastra, guys.
It's great,
let me
but
play this.
certainly we can.
Well, here, let me tell you this. So when they talk about flipping the switch, this is what it means, okay? You're a bank, okay? And you're using the old correspondent banking system, which takes 3 to 4 days, depending on what you're sending. 5% of transactions fail. It's slow, it's clunky. There's a bunch of friction in it, right? Going from that system to a real-time gross settlement system where you have instant payment and instant settlement that happens simultaneously. So when you talk about flip the switch, that means when banks or this FEDNOW system go from using correspondent banking to this new real-time gross settlement system that can use DLT and can use digital assets to settle that transaction instantly. That's what they're talking about when they talk about flip the switch. Now, think about this. You are a bank owner, right? Or you're part of an institution that handles payments. You have this new incredible technology that's been tested for the last 10 years by the BIS, by the World Bank, by all of the biggest banks in the world, basically, right? And central banks. You have this new technology that can save you 60, 70, 80%, giving you the ability to give your customers new services, better services, 365, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, payments instantly, right? Are you going to stay with the old correspondent system, or are you going to rush into this new system that's going to save you money, offer your clients better services, and just make overall your life a lot easier, right? And this will also eliminate those nostro vostro accounts, right? So banks and institutions, companies, they have to keep money in different bank accounts around the world if they're doing business in those countries, and that's a lot of money. I've seen the number as low as $5 trillion all the way up to $15 trillion locked around the world in some bank accounts, and that money is just stale. It just sits there, right? And it can't be used and it can't be liquid, and banks need money now more than ever. Let me just play this.
We do things faster, absolutely, and that's where FEDNOW basically steps in. Is the ability to process payments faster, securely, of course, and with the added flexibility that they're available all the time. Now, in terms of timeline-wise, why now? Let's recap where we are, right? So we're in the middle of the pilot program, the FEDNOW pilot program. Things are ramping up for connectivity testing that's going to appear really in Q4 of this year, with the very first financial institutions going live early 2023. So the time to plan for FEDNOW, it's certainly now. It's certainly now to start looking at your options.
And if, guys, I'm not gonna play the rest of this, he's just talking more of the timeline that we already know, but I do all of these things in my Sensei chats. I do 2 chats a week in the Crypto Nerds Discord, but you can get them as a super subscriber here on YouTube, or you can join Patreon. But we've been talking about this for months, even over a year now, and we've been tracking everything that's been happening. We know which banks are connected to the FEDNOW system. We know who the partners are. We know what technology they're going to be using. we know all of it because I've spent the time to research it all and show my community, okay? And let's just take a look at this. Finastra has connections to 8,600 institutions, including 90 of the world's top 100 banks, okay? Finastra, guys, is a huge deal, and they're also a Ripple partner, right? You have ACI Worldwide, which is also a Ripple partner. You have just so much stuff happening too. And then also too, here's Jimmy Valley talking with Zach Rector. Let me just talk about this some more.
So the other was the collateralization, basically to take each bucket of value and try to collapse that value onto the XRPL. Then we averaged them, and that's what was kicking out this 25,000, 37.5 a coin. One of the things that we've been considering since that time is there's inputs. You mentioned like how much of a step change this is going to be. The number of, when we move into the digital world, this blockchain trading world, the number of trading hours alone are going to 5x, okay? And what I mean by that is right now we only trade 252 days a year for about 6.5 hours a day. That turns out to be, it's a little over 1,630 hours a year of actual trading time. When you move into this 24/7 trading time, it's going to be 360 days a year at 24 hours a day, right? So you'd be trading 24/7. That becomes like a 8,600 and something number of trading hours. So just the trading hours alone are going to 5x. The efficiency, the internal efficiency of each hour, because of the speed at which these transactions move at the quantum level, is going to be another exponential increase. And then the number of people that are going to come into the banking system, come into the financial system. You hear people talk about the 2 billion, roughly 1.5 billion of people in the world that are unbanked. All those people are going to start coming into the system, trading mobile minutes or other things of value to them that they're currently outside. They don't have bank accounts. They're not inside the system. So all these types of things are going to drive an increase in the use, the number of transactions, the volume, all that kind of stuff. So those are getting inputted as well as these things I discussed from 2021. We're doing a little bit of what we call generally setting headroom, because you can't just come up with a value and say 2030 about what everything's going to be and then peg it to that number. You got to provide for this expansion in value to increase even beyond that, right? To have a truly stable kind of a agreement on price. That headroom, what we call it, that kind of additional, is to take into account these things like meteor mining and new technology and space tourism and things that we haven't started to do yet, but the technology is right there, and we will be doing that in 2040, 2045, that type of thing.
All right, so that's Jimmy Valley. If you don't know who Jimmy Valley is, he's a part of a group that puts together models for XRP. And the reason I think they've done this is, one, to show that, hey, XRP does have real value. It is really going to be the plumbing of this new financial system mixed with quant. But Ripple has built out incredible stuff. And I think the lawsuit was actually helpful. And I know you're probably saying, Sensei or Rob, why was the lawsuit by the SEC helpful to Ripple? It really pushed Ripple to expand out into the world. 95% of Ripple's business is now out in the world, right? And they have all of these incredible connections. And the US, right, they're going to have to catch up, right? Because all of these other banks globally are going to be on this new, faster, cheap, more exciting system. And the US banks are going to be like, I want some of that. I need some of that. I really do think this was a blessing. We really weren't ready to go 2 years ago, but right now with FEDNOW launching and maybe this new quantum financial system coming in, the value is going to go somewhere, right? You have the derivatives market, it's a $1 quadrillion value. You have the bond market, 100 trillion. You have real estate, which is about $328 trillion globally. All this value is going to wind up on blockchain sooner or later. And it's going to wind up on the best ones, the ones that are ISO compliant, the ones that are interoperable, the ones that are maybe a bridge asset, right? These are the ones where all that value is going to live. And this is where we would get a high price like 10,000, like 20,000, once all of that would happen, right? If we got half of the derivatives market of $500 trillion and that value was being exchanged on the XRPL daily, that would give us some kind of ridiculous price. Or if, let's say, FedWire, which moves 4.2 trillion a day, FedWire Securities, which moves 1.3 trillion a day, that's 5.5 trillion a day, mixed with the DTCC, which is the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, they move $6 to $7 trillion a day. If you can just get that, and that's 10, 11 trillion, $12 trillion a day, plus you got CHAPS in England, which is $1 trillion. Now you have 13 trillion, $14 trillion moving over the network per day, plus you have everything else. And that's how we get to 4 digits or 5 digits or something really silly. And that's where our lives could change forever. And I truly believe that's where we're heading. 2014, let me just show you how far back this goes. Web payments workshops featuring Ripple, the World Bank, and the Federal Reserve. They've been working on this for years, guys. This was the plan all along, okay? Also, check this out. Mr. Man, court blessings, court case. The Fed does not want you to know what's in. Check this out. Let me play this.
Is it with the pilot members and the bank members that ultimately would join this thing, or is it a direct-to-consumer or direct-to-business effort at some point?
I think there's a little bit of both, and we need to have our eyes on both. With the financial institutions, we've seen a broad swath of the industry that's leaning in. Clearly, our pilot members, so the folks on the discussion here with me today, are leaning in. But there's others for whom...
Just so you know, I know this is really small. It says, as Senior Vice President of Head of Payments Product for FEDNOW at the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. Just so you know.
Instant payments is just a brand new topic, and we've got an education gap there, so we can bring them along so that then we can reach out to the end users. I think more broadly, we've got to reach out to the industry and start to light up use cases in a way that they can see the benefits so that we get to the natural thing. I like the way Kevin puts it. To them, it's just they want to move the money instantly. They shouldn't need to know about all the plumbing and all the things that we will worry about and that the financial institutions will worry about. They should just say, I want to move money because there's another counterparty that needs these funds for me instantly. And we should worry about the details, whatever the use case may be. But I think until we let them know that it is a possibility that we can move money in the same manner that they're used to seeing their text messages or emails move instantly,
that's going to really change things for a lot of people. And also, just to show you this, Ripple will replace current settlement system. Funds transfer, if widely adopted by the Federal Reserve, would still be enforcement. So this is what it would look like, right? Domestic, international, right? You have PayPal up here, applications, banks. You have banks, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. Standard and governance, this is the Nacha system. Nacha does about 72 trillion a year in clearing. And then you have the clearinghouse and the ACH. And then you have the settlement infrastructure down here, which would be Ripple or Swift and Ripple. And then just check this out, right? If you didn't know this, right? Ripple was the only blockchain infrastructure company invited to the Faster Payments Council and the Faster Payments Task Force. Also, look at the other companies that are here, right? You have Ripple, you have Walmart, you have Wells Fargo, you have Visa, JP Morgan, Netflix, American Express, TD Bank, Goldman Sachs, First National Bank, Federal Reserve, BNY Mellon, Nationwide, and the Clearinghouse. You don't see HBAR in there, you don't see Stellar in there, you don't see IOTA in there, Ripple in there. You need to pay attention to that, okay? That is very important, guys. It's very important. And then this is how Ripple partner ACI connects to FedNow. Just check this out. So ACI would be down here. This is the sender and this is the receiver, and these are the two banks, the transfer funds, and then the FedNow system is in the middle, just moving the transaction through, right? And then FedNow service demos shows payment completed in milliseconds, right? So this is not Swift, right? Swift is still a messaging platform, right? Swift GPI. So the only way to get instant settlement like this is with DLT, is with digital assets. What digital assets, you ask? I think you know the answer to that question, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, let me get an XRP or whatever your favorite token is in the comments. Please like and share with someone you know. We're on our way to 9,000 subscribers. I can't do it without your help, so I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Aloha. Bye. Like all this content and you want to really take your learning experience and supercharge it, think about becoming a Cryptonaires member. I will take your crypto knowledge and I will 10x it. It's what I do every day. I focus, I really pay attention to what's being used globally, and we talk about this and I show you the proof. I bring you the information so you can make a better educated decision on what you want to do with your life, right? I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who loves crypto and I love sharing it with you. Please like and share with somebody you know.